Okay, so the second most common issue we see amongst Orange Theory members in our office deals a little bit more generally with issues in the lower leg and the foot. Sometimes people will have underlying issues that eventually become plantar fasciitis, shin splint type feelings, pain kind of along the outside of their lower leg. And so I want to go through the most common reason those develop in the first place and give you ways that you can work on them to prevent those issues from occurring. We'll hit Achilles, prevention of plantar fasciitis, and shin splints. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is, like previously, we first want to do a self-assessment and self-check to see if you are a candidate for some of these exercises. So the first thing we're going to have you do is do one of the most basic things and just try to balance on one leg. So when you do this, you want to, just like when we were assessing the posterior chain, think really hard. When you do this, where do you feel most of the pressure on your foot? Do you feel it along the outside? Do you feel it on the inside? Feel it in both? Are you wobbling back and forth like mine often does? This is my weak side, which is why I want to show it to you, because you want to check both because one is often worse than the other. So for most of you, when you do this, you will feel like, not the whole time, but a lot of the time, you're feeling a lot of that weight distributing to the outside or the lateral part of your foot. That is not where you want most of your weight to be. Some of you are chronic ankle sprainers, this guy. And the other thing is this will lead to all kinds of issues in the lower legs. So let's fix it real quick. So what you're gonna do is take that lacrosse ball that we used previously, and you're gonna place it in between on the bottom of your foot, directly in between the bones of your outermost toe. So your pinky toe and then the fourth toe over here, you're gonna do it not right on kind of the knuckle, but right above it, right in here. It should be like kind of soft muscle tissue. When you push it, it should be squishy and pliable for the most part. So you're gonna take that ball and you're going to place it in there. You shouldn't be directly on the bone, and you want to put a decent amount of pressure in there. And what you're going to do is bend your knee. So we're doing the left one for you at home. Much easier during this if you do your left side first. Compress down into the ball with your left foot, bend your left knee, and then sometimes people will walk kind of pigeon-toed. I want you to, while putting pressure straight down and bending that knee, try to turn in like pigeon toe. You're gonna feel some pressure under your foot for sure. And then you're going to turn your body weight away to the right. Again, back and forth. You're gonna bend, kind of go pigeon toe. My socks are sliding, so I'm gonna go on this surface here. So you're pushing in, bending, turning in, kind of pigeon toed, and then turning your body weight to the right. And you're gonna do this for 90 seconds. Back and forth. You're gonna feel a good amount of pressure. That's completely normal in that spot most likely. And again, 90 seconds, do it for that long, and then we're gonna go back to that balance. And you're just gonna go to that left side, balance, and see where you feel most of the weight distributing there. You should all of a sudden feel like you're using your big toe, you're using the arch, and you are activating that inner part, not distributing to the outer part. And that is a good example of how you should be activating your feet throughout squats and lunges and running and all of these dynamic things we do standing. And most of the time, we have lived in way too cushioned shoes at all times, sometimes high heels, tight shoes, not wide enough in the toe box, all kinds of things. But most of us have not spent any time strengthening our feet. If our feet are weak and not stable through that big toe, then oftentimes you're gonna develop issues not only in the foot and heel, but somewhere up the chain. So this is really important to get proper. So when you are standing to review, you should feel like you're using the inside, the arch, and I like to describe it as a tripod. Your heel, your big toe joint here, and then your pinky toe. And most of the muscle activation should be on the arch. All right, so that is a quick little self-assessment. If that was you distributing on the outside. Spend some time doing this on a daily basis. Really work on treating kind of that adhesion in the foot that we found. And you could do some really basic stuff from there, like just balancing. You can start with balancing for as long as you can. You can balance and close your eyes. You can make it an unstable surface, or one of my favorites is to take a pen and keep balancing, drop, go pick up the pen, drop the pen, go pick it up, all while trying to keep that tripod focused on the big toe and the arch. And so if you're dealing with issues in the foot or the lower leg, we're going to show you a couple mobility and some strengthening things you can do to self-treat, but also kind of prevent some of these things from happening in the first place. So the first one we're going to just go through quickly because we did it partially already. You're going to use the lacrosse ball to roll through the bottom of your foot. So I want you to think of this kind of like you did the quads. You didn't just roll straight up and down the quads. We did the middle, the inside, and the outside. The ball is going to go not directly on the heel, but kind of in that squishy spot right there close to the heel. And you're going to pretend like when you're rolling back and forth to each toe. So my favorite way to do this, you can do it seated or standing, whichever one you prefer. I like to do it standing because I like to put a good amount of pressure in there. And this one, it's really important to keep downward pressure on the ball, and you're just gonna roll nice and slow, not fast. That won't accomplish anything. Nice and slow so you can create constant tension and increase time on that fascia in there. And the arch is really where you're gonna feel some of the crunchy stuff and some of the good stuff to get to. But don't forget to roll down the middle, and then always make sure you get the outside. This one, sometimes I'll do sitting because the ball wobbles a lot on the outside, and I'll even just kind of hold steady just to make sure I can get that outside really, really good. So again, 6 to 8 passes, pretend like you're going to each of your 5 toes, really thoroughly roll through the bottom of each foot. This is gonna make you feel so much looser, not just in your feet, but all the way up your posterior chain. The other area, for those of you that have Achilles issues or tight calves and ankle issues, is to make sure you thoroughly foam roll your calves. So this is easily done with the foam roller. And again, just like with the quads and the bottom of the foot, we don't roll just one area. Fascia is not in one spot. It is around the whole area. And so we want to make sure we're really thorough. So this one you can do 2 at a time. My preference is to do 1 at a time so you can get good pressure in there. You're gonna start not on the heel, that's a bony prominence. You wanna go just kind of right above into that Achilles tendon. And you can push down like this, or you can put your other foot over top and roll nice and slow. This one, if you have tile or hardwood floor, highly suggest rolling like that. It is, if you're on a more stiff surface, sometimes you gotta hold yourself up. That's exhausting. You do enough work at Orange Theory. You wanna just take your foot, go over, and just slide yourself all the way up the center of that lower leg. Again, 6 to 8 passes back and forth. If you deal with shin splints, this will be helpful. You wanna, instead of going dead center, you wanna go along the inside. Same rule applies. Push straight down into the foam roller. And this one, put your right leg over that left and just push, slide yourself along the floor, getting that inside. Pausing if you find it a really tender area, you can move your foot around on that spot. And then the third way is, instead of center or the inside, you want to get the outside. And so this one, you can kind of roll out like that, and same thing. I like to put my foot over top, go nice and slow back and forth on the outside of the leg. That will take care of most of the tightness that develops in the bottom of the foot and the calf that leads to all kinds of crazy stuff in the lower leg. But that's just the mobility component. So let's show you some stability components that you can do to strengthen the lower leg to prevent knee issues on top of all of those really common lower leg, foot and ankle type issues. So the first one we're gonna do is one of my favorite exercises for the lower leg. Most of you have probably never strengthened the front of your lower legs. A lot of times people, when they first start running, start to feel like they're getting a shin splint type feeling, and it's kind of pressure right here. It's not truly a shin splint. There's lots that goes into it, but you can prevent that from happening. Even more important, if you're not strengthening this muscle in the front of your shin, you can develop all kinds of issues, most notably issues in the knee. So I'm gonna roll these up so you can kind of see what we're doing here. The first exercise you can do, again, barefoot or with shoes, totally up to you. All you're doing is, this is gonna be a series of 3 exercises. Each exercise, you're gonna do 25 to 30 reps, and these are very simple, but very, very effective. So the first one, you're just going to lean against a wall, keeping everything nice and straight. The further you are out from the wall, the harder it's gonna be. So pick something not necessarily straight up, but also not way out to start with. And all you're doing is, from this position, is raising your feet up like that and going nice and slow back down. Again, up 25 to 30 times. When you go down, control that motion. Don't just drop like that. If it is ratchety and shaky, that's okay. Fight the urge to just let it drop. And again, 25, 30 reps. After you've done those, you're gonna turn around and you're gonna do 25 to 30 reps of calf raises. So everybody's done a calf raise before. It may seem like, okay, dude, that's easy. Just raise up and down 25, 30 times, no big deal. But we wanna make sure you're using the bottom of your foot properly. Most of us, when we raise up, or most will kind of go out to the side, don't do that. You wanna make sure that you are raising up on your toes through your big toe. When you go up on your toe, you should not come out like this. You should be here, and this part of your big toe should always stay in contact with the ground. One trick I like is to put a coin, like a quarter, underneath that joint right there in the big toe, and you should always be in contact with that. So again, properly go through the big toe and do 25 calf raises, up, slow and controlled down, don't just drop. Slow and controlled. If these are really, really easy, then it's fine to go up and then shift your weight and go really slow down on just one side. Again, up, down on one side if those feel really, really easy. And make sure then to do 25 and 30 on both sides. The third exercise, especially for the running component of working out, is you want to strengthen the muscle that is responsible for the vast majority of all the power in running. So most of you want to get faster. I know you do. You talk about it all the time. But if you have a weak lower part of your calf, then you're going to have to come see me for us to patch up all the problems from having a weak soleus. So don't let that be you. This is a very easy exercise. It's the exact same as doing a calf raise, but this time you're gonna bend your knees. That's the only difference. So you're gonna go up close to a wall. You're gonna stand up nice and straight, and then you're gonna bend your knees just like that, as far as you want. If you have discomfort in your knee, just stay within a pain-free range. If you get pain in the front of your ankle, again, only bend far enough that you don't have pain. And you're just gonna lean forward, and then you're gonna raise up like this. Again, through the big toe. If you find yourself raising up and coming out to the side, that rep doesn't count because you're just strengthening into the compensation you already have. So those are 3 exercises you can run through to strengthen the foot and the lower leg in order to prevent those issues that we see so often in here. Not to mention, they will help make you faster. So that's good enough motivation.